And when you do this, there is like real money to be saved in your business. Like, again, thousands of dollars sometimes per month, both in branded search that you're overpaying for and in categorical search that is actually not performing. So it's just like a low ROAS campaign that you should be spending less money on, etc. And you can't see it. Let's move more into a world that I know a little bit better, which is the world of digital marketing. This is another thing I jumped at with your original tweet because it's something I probably need to say. I probably just need to pre-schedule a monthly tweet about this. But it is the scourge of non-incremental branded search in your Google Ads account, which is happening right now in your Google Ads account, dear listener. Like it is definitely happening. And by definitely, I mean in 80+% of the Google Ads accounts that I look at. So talk through your insight here, and then let's help people save some money on branded search.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page as far as our crusade against branded search. But the first thing I do is export the keywords that you're actually matching for. And you will be disturbed. You'll look at it and you'll say, holy, I didn't believe this guy talking about branded search at first. And I exported it, looked at it, and now I want to gouge my eyes out.
Just really fast, just to be really clear, because this language is actually a little tricky. What you want to export is the search terms, not the keywords, right? Because the search terms is actually where you see what words people have searched to land on your ad. So keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So you see what they're actually searching for, and you just be really, really alarmed. It doesn't take long. It takes literally, honestly, even if you don't know what you're doing, 15 minutes to do. And from there, I wouldn't bother running a really fancy incrementality test. I would just lower spend by 50%, just see what happens. And in most cases, probably nothing. And just see what happens over the course of 2 weeks. And my guess is probably nothing. And you'll just save a bunch of money.
I think there are two elements of this strategy. So the first is many, if not most, folks have in their Google Ads accounts some version of a branded search campaign set up, right? Where it's like you're targeting branded keywords, and there's been a lot of ways to do this over time. Google Ads has changed a lot, but basically some version of branded search, right? So I'm wearing my Wander Club hat here. So if it was for the Wander Club, which is a client of mine, they it would be some search terms with the word the Wander Club or Wander Company or whatever, all the little variations that people misspell and mistype, right? Wonder Club, whatever. So all those trigger your ads, okay? And that's great. Go ahead and set that up, and maybe you run that at a really high ROAS. I'm just going to tell you right now, especially if you don't have real competitors really bidding hard against your brand terms, something like that, that should be running probably at least at a 15-1, at least, okay? If you even have it at all. I'm comfortable with running it as long as you're at some kind of ridiculous ROAS like that, right? But there's another thing that you're talking about here, which is that when you go and look at your actual like non-branded campaigns, right? People call them all kinds of things: generic search, categorical search, non-brand search, whatever, and then go export your search terms. What inevitably is happening almost all the time, you'll see like, oh, I got a 2-1 on this campaign or a 3-1. But when you go and actually export the search terms, what's happening, and in fact, you don't even have to really do an export. You could just pull it up in the Google Ads dashboard. Just look up, it's under, I think, Insights search terms is where you see it. If you go pull that up, what you will inevitably see, if you have not been like sort of diligent about this, is that you will see some variation of these terms, right? So instead of the Wander Club, like I said, it'll be Wonder Club, and it's clearly somebody searching for your brand, but you didn't exclude it from your non-brand campaign, and that will be actually running at a 10-1, and all the rest of your categorical search will be running at a 0.5, and it'll come out to a blended average number that you see at your campaign dashboard level of a 2 or a 3 or whatever it is, right, depending on the volume. And so you have to go and exclude those search terms. And when you do this, there is like real money to be saved in your business. Like, again, thousands of dollars sometimes per month, both in branded search that you're overpaying for and in categorical search that is actually not performing. So it's just like a low ROAS campaign that you should be spending less money on, etc. And you can't see it. So that basic process gets you really far for just like marking out what is a complete and total non-valuable cost center in your business. Okay, so say more. Anything else that you want to add to that?
The other big giveaway is in Northbeam. If you look at the average touch points to convert and time to convert, you'll see that it's much faster, and it's almost always just on desktop. That's because people are going from mobile to go purchase on desktop.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll notice that it's really bad for any brand with a high number of average items per order, because people are more afraid of ordering something incorrectly on mobile, or like if you have a complex ordering process. where there's a lot of customization, you'll see it way worse. And that's like a fun thing you can do in Northbeam. So
Yeah, that is makes a lot of sense. People definitely forget about that, like to cross-device conversion thing. It's a real thing. The other way I manage this in an ongoing way, as somebody who's really not great in Google Ads, but who, I've spent some time in the past. I may have managed Google Ads at points, and what I always say to like clients about this is like, I can't run your Google Ads, but I can definitely help you waste less money in your Google Ads. And so like I won't be the person to go scale an account for somebody, but just wasting less. And the other thing to do, the way I would just handle this is in your branded campaign, you just select search impression share as one of your columns. And as long as you're ranking for 90+% of the searches for your brand name, you're ranking for plenty of them. And then every day that I am still getting 90+% of the searches for my brand name, I just tick down my target CPA, or tick up my target ROAS, or tick down my target CPC. I don't really care how you bid it. And until you get down to the point where your search impression share gets below that. Because what that's doing, right, is telling you how often your ad is ranking relative to the search terms that you're targeting. And what I consistently see, and smarter Google people than me have more sophisticated ways of doing this, but what I consistently see is like, you start at like, okay, a $25 target CPA, 95% search impression share, right? You can get that down to $5 sometimes, and just keep going lower and lower and lower, and it's just hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars per week, depending on how big your brand is, sometimes per day, where it was just like Google just taking extra money from you. You did not need to pay that much for your CPA to rank for those terms, and you just march it down every single day. Really unsophisticated way to do it, but it works really, really great. And the other thing I would add to this same point is, this is something that I think is a dead giveaway that your Google Ads agency is not doing a good job. Is if you're working with a Google Ads agency and there are lots of brand terms floating into search and categorical shopping campaigns, this is a very quick way to audit whether or not they actually care about your account, or whether or not they're actually doing good work. Because this is so Google 101 that when a Google Ads agency is not like, just again being diligent about handling this, some of them will even just have scripts that do it for you, that just make sure this happens. It for me is like pretty much grounds for firing them. It's just like, or at least for grounds for having a very hard conversation and saying, you owe me a bunch of money that you said you were not, that you said you were keeping in campaign A versus campaign B, and you were overpaying for. So all of their reports are wrong if they've done this. So to me, it's a dead giveaway of a poorly managed Google Ads account. Okay, anything else to add to that? That was a little bit of a tirade by me, because I
no,
think it's
no, nothing on
so
my.
right.
It's a
Okay,
good
great.
crusade to be fighting.
Yeah, yeah. It's just fast. Okay, merchandising and collection sort is another area that you want to talk about, and I love this point because it's something I hear people talk a lot about, but frankly don't feel particularly educated on. And so, guide me, Mehtab. Tell me how to
Yeah.
think about the value of how you sort your collections, and what you're looking for, and how you go do it.
So this is probably mostly applicable to anyone with a larger catalog. Um, Say apparel is always like a classic winner here. Um, the main thing is paying attention to which, say you're sending to collections off of ads, paying attention to how products are ranked and why they're ranked that way, and having some sort of logic. The gold standard is like gross profit per click from the collection level, which you used to be able to do with another layer on top of Google Ads, but it's changed now. Now it's way more complex to do in GA4, so you probably need a dev for that. But I did. I actually wrote like a really detailed blog on how to do this step by step, totally free. Um, but the goal is like
Okay, let's make sure to link that. So that
oh sure,
merchandising blog post is in the show notes of this episode. So
cool.
okay, so keep going.
Yeah, so basically you want to make sure you don't have really low converting products near the top. You don't want to have, if you're in apparel, you don't want to do something like rank a product with really limited size coverage up top, because it's super frustrating for the customer. If, say, you sell shoes and you only have size 6 left or something, uh, you'll see like your efficiency with ads decline. You'll wonder why, and it's because you're sending people to a collection where the top few products, the size coverage is really limited, really bad. And again, you can expand this logic out to email, to the way your menu is structured. That's made a huge difference. And this is a very, very consistent way to increase AOV primarily, is what we've noticed. Um, and again, you can expand the same logic to things like suggested products that show up, or other products that are linked within a certain product display page. And it's usually a really big lift. It takes maybe a few hours to do if you want to do it a relatively unsophisticated way, by looking at something like um, maybe page value or some other proxy. But most of the time we come up with, I don't want to call it like an algorithm or anything, just like a simple formula, depending on the brand and kind of what we found works. It's really easy to A/B test, which is really nice. In Shopify, you can duplicate a collection and just change the sort order for one of them and just send some traffic to one LP, not LP, sorry, one, well, it is an LP, but some
Yeah,
traffic to one
collection page.
collection, yeah, and then the other one to the other one, and doesn't take any dev work, super, super simple. Don't need any tools even. You can just do that in Facebook if you want, and you'll have results fairly quickly.